And that's the martial caster divide. Even if you boost the marshals numbers, magic is cool and is a gigantic toolbox. So yeah, I do like arcane tricksters. Again, we're in a weird transitional phase where we literally started playing one game and now we're playing another game. It doesn't feel like that because they're very similar games, but
Yeah.
I declared that like between sessions, you can respec. You can legit go back and rebuild your character if you want to switch subclasses, if you want to try something else out. We have a good table. I spelled it out anyway, as long as that's not I'm not fighting abuse cases of that. As long as you're not gaming the system where it's like, okay, this is an exploration heavy thing, so I'm going to build this subclass,
Oh,
and now for
right.
combat I'll build this guy, and now for
Right.
exploration I'll build this guy. I don't foresee that, but it's worth putting that forward anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you want to change subclasses between sessions, go for it. Yeah, I think that's perfectly fair. And then we get to learn more things too. Like there's a
Right.
there's a benefit to it.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's like like we were talking about the idea of play testing, but you just gave me an idea for a possible campaign. Maybe it's a sci-fi campaign or a cyberpunk kind of campaign where
Mhm.
you do that. Like you do have different loadouts for different missions, maybe. I mean, with D&D, you can do it with equipment and you can do it with like your spell lists and things like that. And we've talked about this also in different videos where it looks like a short rest is designed to do some things. And the long rest is designed for a lot of the spellcasters to say, oh, you know what? I took this spell, but I really don't use it or need it. I think I'm going to need, more offensive spells. I'm going to need more damage dealing spells. Or maybe in this scenario, we're going to be in an open area, so I need more area of effect spells.
Yeah.
And then they can retool their spell lists depending on the class in some cases to do that, which I think is pretty cool because it's kind of helps with that kind of player regret that that I sort of experienced a little bit with this all military martial rogue build, but it helps it for spellcasters so that they don't feel stuck, right?
hmm
Like,
hmm
oh my gosh, I'm an evocation wizard and I need some abjuration spells, like they can do that and wizards can do that, but like that's just kind of a flavorful example of what I'm trying to talk about. So
And they recognized that and addressed it by making everyone's a prepared caster now, which I hate because they just changed the definition of what prepared means. But yes, every caster has more ability to change spells. A lot of them are on the level up, to like swap out spells.
so when you say they changed what they mean by prepared caster, tell everybody what you mean by that.
Well, it's almost like it's hard for me to talk about. I haven't even like sorted out like the verbiage because they they
Okay.
they made a knot out of the whole thing. But it used to be known spells and prepared spells. So like a sorcerer knows X amount of spells. That's what they can cast. A wizard has and that yeah so the sorcerer knows X amount of spells. They have those spells prepared. That's it. A wizard has a spell book, so here's all the spells that they could possibly prepare. Every morning they do a build out. A cleric has access to every spell on the cleric spell list, and can every morning choose to prepare whatever spells they want off of that list.
Mm.
So that used to be the difference. Now they say there's only prepared spellcasters because like a ranger on level up can swap out one of their spells, which is not the same thing as every morning I wake up and like, oh, it's a town day. I'm gonna take these 8 spells. Oh, we're going into combat the next day after a long rest. I'm gonna take a completely different loadout of spells.
Right.
Um, so yeah, it gives you a ton of versatility if you can swap out all of your spells all of the time,
Yeah.
essentially.